Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're all well. Please remember to like and subscribe, just to push this information out over YouTube. I would appreciate if you could share this video. Once again, this only appears to have been picked up by the local press, no mainstream coverage. So sharing it obviously gets around the fact that, whether deliberately or not, this information is being suppressed slightly from public eyes. So there's some more news about Callum Haycock, the 21-year-old man who was convicted of rape. Now, just a fair warning to people that I'm going to be talking about the crime itself. It does involve a child. Obviously, if that is not something you want to hear about or listen to, then please be warned that I'll be going into some detail about that, as lightly as I can, but there is some more information about it. Now, he was found guilty of this crime of rape, and his victim is a 5-year-old girl. His punishment was to be fined £200 and given a 3-year community order. Now, the way I look at it is the 3-year community order is clearly the rehabilitation side of the sentence, and the £200 fine is the punishment side of the sentence. So effectively, this guy's punishment was to be fined £200 for this crime. He was also ordered to pay £2,500 to the victim, but that's not classed as a punishment, that is classed as victim compensation. So his crime was actually punished with a £200 fine. This is obviously completely unacceptable. The public did hear about this in the mainstream press in 2 outlets, the Daily Mirror and the Daily Mail. They covered the lenient sentence initially, and the public were very unhappy with this sentence, so reported to the Attorney General under the unduly lenient sentence scheme that they felt that this sentence needed to be relooked at. Now, the Attorney General agreed and passed the case to the Court of Appeal to be heard on the basis that the sentence may be too lenient. So what the Court of Appeal was doing was deciding whether to increase the sentence or to leave it as it was. Now, the Court of Appeal decided that the sentence should be increased, but the only thing they did was to add on a curfew for 1 year. So this guy has been now tagged for 12 months and he's not allowed to go out between 7 at night and 7 in the morning. To me, this would suggest that they consider him to be a danger, and that's why they've done that, surely. But again, only 1 year. 1 year curfew, 3-year community service, and he's got 5 years on the sex offenders register. So his name actually comes off the sex offenders register after 5 years as well. Now, it's quite difficult to find information about this. I actually had to go to a place called courtnewsuk.co.uk to find any information about this, and I can't find anything else. So this is actually behind a paywall, so I had the joy of paying a £5 to go and read this. But they do give a bit more information about the crime, and what they say is that the headline that they've got is that the judge was right to free a rapist who attacked a 5-year-old girl. Now, I believe that's not necessarily the opinion of this website, that is the opinion of the Court of Appeal, by the sounds of things, that the judge was right to free the rapist who attacked a 5-year-old girl. They do give a little bit of information about it. What they say is that Callum Haycock was friends with the 5-year-old girl when he was 17 years old. I don't know how they can be friends, but they were friends and they often played together apparently. When he was 17 years old and she was 5 years old, he attacked her. And the quote here is that the traumatised child told her parents the incident lasted 3 seconds and left her feeling sad. Callum Haycock denied the incident happened, but he wouldn't go into the witness box to give his version of events. That's probably on his lawyer's advice. And when he was arrested in October 2016, he told the police that he was trying to teach the girl to stay away from bad people. Just a horrible situation. So the police charged him with the rape of a child under the age of 13, that's the offence, and he was convicted in February this year. He was sentenced in October, and that's when he got the 3-year community order, the fine for £200 and the requirement to pay £2,500 compensation. Now, the girl's mother was outraged and stormed out the court, branding the justice system a joke, and vowed to appeal the sentence, and you can completely understand why. There's mention in this article as well that there was a group set up called The Public's Voice. I think it's a Facebook-based group. It's called The Public's Voice, and it's to do with basically a community group where they discuss or highlight where the courts have been letting rapists and paedophiles off lightly in their local area. If that's something you want to check out, you can go and join the Public's Voice on Facebook. So the girl's mother apparently brought the case to the Court of Appeal with the support of the Attorney General. Now that maybe means that it was the mother who complained about the sentence being too lenient rather than the public, but the impression I got from the Attorney General's tweet, as everything's done by tweet these days, was that a complaint can come in from the member of the public, and that's what they referred to when they said they were taking it forward through this scheme, lenient sentence scheme. So it would appear that maybe the public has complained as well. So they took it forward to the Court of Appeal, and in their opinion they said that Haycock should have been jailed for the rape, which is what I also believe. That is my opinion, of course, and I'm sure that is what most people would believe. But what they say is that Haycock has not had a jail sentence imposed, and the Lord Justice Singh has ruled in favour of Judge Jackson, who was the sentencing judge initially, remarking that the case was exceptional, and what they say is that Callum Haycock has the mental age of an 11 to 12-year-old and an IQ of 62. He was also unable to attend mainstream school and suffered from autism, so he does have severe special needs. This surely would not preclude him from being sentenced to some kind of term in a hospital, though, for the safety of children. If he's unable to stop himself committing these kinds of crimes, it opens up a whole can of worms kind of argument. But this guy, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, needs to be locked away so that he cannot be near children, because he's extremely dangerous. Nobody would want this person near their children. Whether that's his fault or not is a different story and irrelevant. The rights of the victims should come first, of course. This should go without saying, but what they've done here is they've put the rights of the perpetrator first. According to the pre-sentence report, prison would not be able to cope with his needs, with Callum Haycock's needs, and his best chances of rehabilitation were to be found in serving a community order. That's just what this article states. I'm not going to read it out word for word because, like I say, it's behind a paywall, but I'll put a link down in the description for it. Mr. Justice Singh, who heard the appeal to increase the sentence, has said that the judge had impressive reports before him which recommended that he should not impose a custodial sentence, and he believes that it's reasonable that the judge did not reject those expert reports. He says that the judge was entitled to take the view that in the exceptional circumstances of this case, it would better serve the purposes of sentencing to impose a community order with rehabilitation hours rather than to send this respondent to an adult prison, which would be unlikely to provide the support that he would need, particularly in relation to rehabilitation. I'm not sure where they're getting the idea that you can rehabilitate a compulsive child rapist. This is, again, completely my opinion. The mother said that she ran out of the court and slammed the door behind her and shouted it's a joke. She also says that she sees no justice for her daughter in this, and that is exactly right. There's no justice for her daughter in this whatsoever. They're treating the perpetrator as if he's a victim here. It doesn't seem that any consideration has come in for the child whose life has potentially been ruined forever, and certainly without intensive therapy and extremely careful handling of the situation, there's a high chance that that is going to be the case. This person's life is going to be ruined forever. We can only just hope that that is not the case. The fact of the matter is, this guy was convicted of rape, so how can his special needs be a reason not to send him to prison if he's been convicted of rape? If his mental health issues were so that he didn't know what he was doing was wrong, or that he couldn't stop himself, I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest, but surely if he was so mentally ill, he should be put into a hospital and given treatment such as they would do for somebody who murders someone but has full-blown paranoid schizophrenia or psychosis, something like that. They would put that person into a hospital. So the only thing that was added to Callum Haycock's sentence was that he abide by a 12-month curfew from 7 PM to 7 AM. He doesn't have any extension to the sex offenders register. At the very, very least, I would have hoped that they would have extended his time on the sex offenders register to possibly life, because this person, it needs to be registered that this person is going to be dangerous, surely. Again, a lot of this is my opinion, but I'm just trying to bring you this information because I did make a video previously and I wouldn't like to just leave it there as it is. So this guy's now free, walking the streets. It's a very hard situation to discuss when you find out some of the information about it, but surely the only thing that should be said here is that this person should not be free to walk the streets. I can't see how the safety of children has been put to the side in this case, like the way that it appears to have been done. But I'm not going to go ranting about it. I just want to bring you the information. It does bring up all kinds of questions about how you deal with this kind of scenario, but it should all come down to the fact that the victim's rights must come first before the perpetrator's rights. There's also an argument to be made that every single sex offender has mental health issues. That can't be used as a reason to not sentence somebody to prison in every case, and I'm not sure why this case is particularly special. The idea seems to be that this person needs to be rehabilitated and dealt with compassionately, but it seems to me you could do that by putting them in hospital, and the compassion also needs to be put in the right direction as well. It seems like they might be focusing the compassion in the wrong direction in this case. Just my take on it, of course. Very dark subject matter, not something I want to continue really focusing on, but certainly I think this one needed to be brought to people's attention. As I said at the start of the video, it hasn't been covered by the mainstream press at all, so it seems like they've just forgotten about it for whatever reason. So I'm going to leave this topic there. It certainly does bring some interesting questions up as to how you deal with these kinds of situations, so certainly put your thoughts down below. Of course, I'm going to try and get off this topic now. At least we do have a little bit more background about the sentence now. We also know the judge and we are aware of the judge's thinking behind this, so there is at least that. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you can make your own mind up on it. Next video I think is going to be on the True Geordie podcast with Sean Atwood. His Wild Man tribute video, which ended up being more of a tribute to Sean's private parts, especially after the 1 hour and 20 mark anyway. If you manage to make it that far, the video certainly takes a turn for the disgusting, and I was thinking about possibly covering that a little bit because I think it's just outrageous that they labelled that as a Wild Man tribute when we know that Sean got in touch with True Geordie to effectively ask them to help him get his career and reputation back on track. It was full of complete lies. It was full of things that have been exposed as lies already that he's just reiterating. So certainly worth a look into, and I think worthy of a video on its own, along with a couple other things that have come up recently as well. I'm going to leave this video here now, folks, though. I do appreciate you tuning in. As always, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, folks.